Highwayman Trucking and My Way on the Highway. I wanted to make a quick little video about the place that I picked up yesterday. We try to do videos showing our loads and deliveries and individual trips, but this particular one is specifically for step deck operators that are going to be loading Sprinter vans in Laredo, Texas. The name of the business that we loaded at is a big shipping warehouse yard facility called Hinojosa Calzado, and I'll put the name down in the description. It sounds like a person's name, but it's actually the name of the business. And we did a whole video there yesterday, but I just wanted to throw in a couple of suggestions, because it's clearly a major shipping place for all the Amazon Sprinter vans that are being delivered across the country. You can only go in there with a step deck. Landstar seems to be the #1 agent in charge of the loads, and there was a lot of communication problems, and as you'll see in the video, there was tons of trucks coming in and out of there. So anybody that happens to be going down there to get those Sprinter vans for Amazon and taking them out across the country, you might want to watch this. Just a couple of little tips and pointers. One of the first things on the load board, on Landstar's board, they said you had to have a 43 feet on the bottom deck of your step deck. Mine's 42 feet, and I called, and sure enough, they said 42 would work, even though they specifically posted 43. So don't shy away from that if you have 42 on the bottom, like me. The other thing, even though it was supposed to be a 53-foot step deck, there were guys that got in there with 48s. You just have to put one van up on your top deck, which we all know, but I just wanted to clarify that because the posting was so specific, yet there was a lot of leeway. This place is open from like 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. And supposedly all you have to do is check in by 3 p.m. and they will get you loaded. And while that may be the case, hurrying over there like we did, we got in at 10:58 in the morning. So 11 o'clock in the morning, plenty of time. It took 6.5 hours for us to get loaded and get out of there. Absolute nightmare. My main reason for making this video is letting you know when you're going to go into one of those, specifically this business, but it's fairly typical to all of you new drivers out there. It's fairly typical in your major border cities. If you get into those shipping and receiving places, this particular place, not only did they store Amazon vans that were made in Mexico, so they bring them across the border and they store them in their yard, but their yard had just a ton of other shipping containers and box vans. And so while you were waiting, there would be box vans running in and out because they're bringing containers over from Mexico, dropping them off. Somebody else is coming and picking them up, delivering them, wherever else they're going to go. Really intense, very busy facility, and there's no restrooms there. There was nothing to eat anywhere near there, so you want to make sure that you've ate before you go to a place like that. You want to make sure you got enough fuel to sit all day. It was pretty hot and humid. I wasn't turning the truck off. It was like 86 degrees and really humid there. So food, that kind of thing to sustain you for the day, and hours. Obviously, 6.5 hours on the clock is a ton of time to burn. We were fortunate when we got out of there, we still had like 3.5 hours. So we were able to get to a truck stop and get showered and one thing or the other. The truck stops leaving those border facilities are obviously always packed. I mean, they're just always packed. We got very lucky last night, found parking, got a shower quick, had dinner. But be prepared to not be able to get into a truck stop if you're, don't get loaded till 8, 9 o'clock at night. They're probably going to be full. So going into these facilities, in particular, anywhere around the big border towns, Laredo, Eagle Pass, El Paso, just a few that I've been through and experienced problems. This particular facility for the Amazon vans was horrendous. At one point, a guy says, hey, go ahead and park over here, get your ramp set up, we'll get you loaded here soon. Well, after having my ramp set up for about 2 hours, somebody else comes by and they need me to move my whole truck and trailer and ramps because they need to get a box van that I'm blocking. And I'm like, no, I ain't moving my ramps, blah, blah, blah. Your guy told me he was going to be right here. That was 2 hours ago. Anyhow, there were guys that were having to move their ramps 2 and 3 times to accommodate these people. So my suggestion would be, if I was going to do it again, I would put my ramps up on the deck of my trailer towards the back, and I would not set them up until they specifically came and told me that they were going to load me. Because who wants to lug ramps around 2 and 3 times to accommodate these guys?
Because once they've got the vans and they come to your truck, they have to load them. They're not going to go park them.
Yeah, my wife was just chiming in. Once they have the vans and they're coming to your truck, they have to load you because they're not going to go repark the vans and try to, shuffle paperwork and the VIN numbers and all that junk. So make them wait on you is my suggestion. We'll be back. So anyhow, I had to take a little break there to pull in and get fuel and a little breakfast snack. I just wanted to make the video to, like I said, give a heads up. If you're going to be hauling those Amazon Sprinter vans out of Laredo, Texas, just be prepared for a long nightmare. I talked to the broker a couple of times, and they do not pay any detention. It's one of those things where the broker says the company doesn't pay, but the company says it's the broker's responsibility. It's just kind of a back and forth thing, and unfortunately, it is what it is. And I can tell you that the shipping facility for the vans, they don't give a damn whether you come, go, leave, say screw it or not. So it's all on you, whether you want to wait and deal with it. There's not a lot of great freight out of Laredo, Texas. Being a border town, there's a lot of cheap freight because there's just so many people, and these vans were a better rate. Obviously, if you're a Landstar BCO, you're going to get even better than those of us that just are Landstar approved carriers. And that's a whole other topic. Obviously, the Landstar guys work directly for the company and they make more money. I tried to get the broker to go up a little bit, and he wouldn't budge on this load. It was what it was, which I know they had room because I talked to a Landstar carrier that was on the site. One of the loads that I saw for $4,000, he was offered at $4,800. So I know that, and obviously on the $4,800, the broker was still making money. So they're making a lot more money putting these loads out there to those of us that are not Landstar BCOs. And that just is what it is. And it's one of those things where I know they weren't going to budge because it's a decent paying load and it's in an area that doesn't have decent freight. So, the blessing is we've got 2 Sprinter vans. They say a total of 20,000 pounds. I think they're a little less than that each. I mean, a little less than that. I used 4 chains and 8 binders, and we're ready to rock and roll. So it was just the hassle of waiting all day and the confusion it was probably one of the worst places I've loaded, confusion wise, and insult to injury. Like I said, is nobody spoke English there, so yeah. It's a shame though that we all can't band together and demand places like that pay a detention time. They'd sure work a lot faster. We were there 6.5 hours. I think we left at 5:30ish, a little after 5:30 in the evening, and there was still 7 or 8 trucks that were not loaded yet. And talking to a couple of those guys, I know they were completely out of hours after waiting that long. And so, is what it is in trucking sometimes. But just wanted to give a heads up, anybody pulling those loads out of Laredo, Texas, this is primarily geared to you. If you like the video, please subscribe. If you want to be notified of future, ring the bell. And y'all have a great day, and we'll see you on the way to Salt Lake, I'm sure.